more thing about Rainbow before we move on. I do want to mention about the Monsters of Rock, the Castle Donington 1980, because that was the original Castle Donington Monsters of Rock show.
Yeah.
Amazing performance. I remember buying that on album and then seeing the video footage of you doing Catch the Rainbow and Eyes of the World and All Night Long, and just unbelievable concert. And that was like the first of the giant festivals that was
Yeah.
really, throughout Europe or the U.S. I mean, of course, U.S. you had the Cal Jams and that kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
being televised and everything. And what was that experience like? Because that must have been absolutely huge from coming in from all these bands and joining Rainbow, and
Yeah.
boom, instantly you're headlining. Ahead of Scorpions, Judas Priest, all the major metal bands today. Well, what was that experience like?
Well, what do you think? It was like, what the hell am I doing here? It was probably the best thing that I've ever done in my life. It was just surreal. At that time, I couldn't even walk down the damn street without somebody calling out, "Hey, Graham, Cozy, blah blah blah." We couldn't be seen. It was like being a Beatle or something. It was so stupid, and that show was just the most incredible experience I've ever had. I think I just never seen an audience like that, and it was just a magic thing. My whole family was there, and everybody else's family was there. That day was like the most amazing thing I've ever experienced, and I'll never forget it. It's got to be the highlight of the job I do, I guess, because I can't call this a career anymore, because it isn't a career now. It's just kind of like a hobby. It's something I do on weekends, but it's very, very special. And from my personal point of view, I thought, oh crap, I wasn't very good tonight, because I was a little nervous, I think. Then I got back home to Los Angeles, and when I got back home, it was being broadcast on TV, and my sister-in-law was here, and she said, "Oh, we've got to watch it, Graham." I said, "Oh no, please." I said, "I don't think I was very good," and I watched it, and I thought, "Oh, I wasn't that bad at all." That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was one of the best concerts. Because I remember watching it. It was on a show. I must have been like 16 at the time, and I used to video record all these old Don Kirshner shows. And it was a show called Rock World.
Yeah.
And it showed on. And it said Rainbow, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, they're going to show maybe Since You've Been Gone one video, and they showed like a full half hour of the live performance, and I was just in awe, going, "This is unbelievable." I'm calling all my friends, "Dude, you have Channel 13 on?" I still have the Betamax video footage.
Oh, you do? Oh, hey. God, that's a blast from the past.
Great
Yeah,
stuff.
it was, yeah, as I said, it was just the most amazing experience. I never thought I would ever stand on a stage in front of all those people, and to have my mum and dad out there, and my mum and my dad crying and saying, "We always dreamed this would happen to our Graham, but never thought it would actually come true," So they were very proud of me, and my dad just loved the band to death. He just loved the music.
Well, let's move on to MSG, one of my favorite albums, Assault Attack. I mean, absolutely amazing record. Of course, you were in Rainbow with Cozy, and I believe that was a connection which led you into the Michael Schenker group.
Yeah.
Although Cozy actually left on that album, and Ted McKenna, didn't Ted McKenna play on that?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Tell us about that with Michael Schenker. I know how the outcome happened, but recording that album, I believe that was Martin Birch too. Correct? Yeah. Brilliant album.
Yeah, well, that again was just like a pure fluke. I was asked to go down to see the band at the Country Club in Los Angeles when it was still there. And Cozy called me up, and I said, "I don't know if I can make it. I don't know, I was doing something." He said, "You've got to come. You've got to come and see the band. You've got to see Michael. He's a great guitar player." Anyway, I went along, saw the band, blah, blah, blah. Cozy came up afterwards and said, while we were watching another band, he said, "What do you think of the band?" And I said, "Oh, it's damn great, man." I said, "It's really, really good. Fantastic songs." I said, "I love the way Michael plays. He's so different. There's something about him.
Absolutely.
He's German. He's got that European weirdness about him, the way he plays." Anyway, and he said, "Yeah, you like the band today?" I said, "Yeah." I said, are you happy in the band?" He said, "Oh, very much." He said, "This is more fun than Rainbow." I said, "Oh, really? Oh, okay." He said, "Would you like to be in this band too?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Why? Doing what? Playing triangle or something?" "Doing what? You got a singer?" He said, "No, he's going." I said, "Why?" "Don't worry about it. He's going." He said, "Do you want to be in this band?" And that was it. So Cozy asked me, and I went home, and they sent me some tapes a little while later of songs for me to write, and that was it.
Now, you contribute quite a bit to this, because I know with Rainbow, most of the Down to Earth was already kind of written with Richie and Roger. But you contributed, a lot, obviously a lot of the lyrics and the melodies and stuff to the Assault Attack, and it's such an underrated album. And how was that to working with? Because I know even at the time, Michael probably didn't speak that great English.
No.
How was that working with Michael on that on the songwriting for that album?
Well, the whole thing, I thank Michael for actually making me realize that I could actually write songs. It was a very, very good experience for me to write songs and melodies, which, as you said, Michael couldn't really speak English very well. And he just said to me one day, I'm sorry, Graham, I don't know how to write, in English, a story about something.
Talk a little bit about how Alcatraz formed. I know that was kind of geared up to be the next big super group.
We were looking to put a sort of a semi-star band together, so we're looking around for people who were kind of well known, like we auditioned Paul McCartney's guitar player, Lawrence Juba, who was in Wings at the time, just left Wings. A whole load of people. I mean, Ainsley Dunbar, drums, and all sorts of people. And my manager found two guys who had advertised in some magazine or other that they'd just been in a band called New England, and that was Jimmy Waldo and Gary Shea, bass player and keyboard player. Right. And then we found out about Jan Uvina had left the Alice Cooper band, and he was a really good drummer and sang a bit as well. And so we got in touch with him because he came from a star band. Okay, so now we're still looking for a guitar player, and somebody in a store let us know about this 19-year-old kid who was in a band called Steeler, who was a Swedish guitar player, but he'd heard that we'd been looking for somebody who played like Ritchie Blackmore, and so he looked the part, he played great, and we were just blown away by how good he was, and so that was the beginning of the band, Alcatraz.
A terrific album. I wasn't crazy about the production by Dennis McKay. I thought it was pretty thin for a hard rock album. I think if it was better produced...
I felt the same way.
Yeah.
I remember, in fact, it's funny you should say that, because we went to like one of those parties where they show you videos and all that kind of thing. And Olivia Newton-John had a song out called Physical, that physical song.
Right.
And her song sounded bigger than ours.
Yeah.
I mean, she sounded more heavy metal than we do.
Yeah, that really kind of blew me away, that the production. I know Dennis McKay's done a lot of jazz kind of stuff in the past.
They had no balls,
Absolutely.
As I said, Olivia Newton-John was heavier than us. Her thing sounded really big and massive. And then they played our thing, which was this song?
Hiroshima?
It was called.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's right.
It sounded like a little wimpy pop tune. It sounded terrible, But,
well, you made up for it on the next record, I think, with Steve Vai just disturbing the piece.
Yeah, because
definitely.
We had more of a hand in the production, I can tell you, because me and Steve did vocals in a separate room. Steve worked with me a lot, and Eddie Kramer looked after the band side of it. Because I like working with Steve. We knew what we were doing. We're on the same kind of wavelength, vocally and melody-wise, obviously, because we made up the tunes together. And the sound was better on that. And I think the songs are better, from my point of view. And Steve...
Again, a very underrated album. I mean, even God Blessed video. I mean, so many great songs on that record. I don't think it really got the push and the marketing that it deserved.
No, I know. And it is my favorite album still, of that band.
And of course, you really introduced both Steve Vai and Yngwie to the public. I mean, of course, Yngwie was with Steeler, which was very underground, and Steve had done some stuff with Frank Zappa. But as far as the mainstream rock and roll public, you really introduced these two guitar players who have since become, probably the most well-known guitar, players currently. You're responsible.
Alcatraz, a stepping stone to fame. So the band goes down the shitter, and the guitar players go on for a great career. It's just, it's amazing. Again, Steve was stolen away by, David Lee Roth first, I think, and then he went on to other bands. Everybody wanted him, after they'd seen the videos we did together, and he got a bit in that movie Crossroads. But he didn't tell me forever. The band all knew that he was leaving, and I was the last one to be informed. One of the other guys took me aside and said, "Steve can't talk to you. He's too scared to tell you something." And I said, "What?" He says, "Well, he's got a really good job." What is it? What is it? And then that was it. He left, Wow. That's where the money is. Okay.
Yeah. You did one last album, Dangerous Games, with guitarist Danny Johnson, who played with Rick Derringer and a few other people. You want to talk about that album at all? I know that album, again, didn't really get much notoriety.
No, it was another one of those albums that was shoved together. We suddenly had to do cover versions of things because we were told to do that by our management because we needed to do something a bit different. It wasn't a very happy time. None of us were very pleased with that, I don't think. You know, it was definitely the demise of the band. It all kind of sort of fall apart, and Danny went off with Eddie Van Halen to record stuff with his girlfriend or something, and Jay Davis was playing bass. We got together for a very short time, Jay Davis, me, Danny Johnson, and Jan Uvina, to try and stay together as the new Alcatraz, but it just all fell apart. Well, Danny went on with, Steppenwolf. He was with them for like 10, 12 years, whatever.
Oh, that's right.
That was his job until recently.
Well, we'll go ahead and close this up. I just, want to say to everyone, you've got Alcatraz Reformed. You are currently recording, or you're planning to record a new record under Alcatraz?
Well, we hope to start soon. I'm doing an album called Lyrica, which is a rock opera thing. But I recorded some stuff on another album about a year ago with these people that it's like a fantasy story CD. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they want to make it into an animated movie, but I don't know how far they've got with that yet. But that's the next sessions I've got to do. It's about 6 songs for this particular. It's a project, I guess you call it. That horrible word. That's what I'm doing next, and then. In between, I hope we can putting down some Alcatraz tracks when possible, because we've got the songs lying around that we haven't started on yet. We haven't even cut one song yet, but we have the songs almost kind of ready, All
right. Well, definitely look forward to the new record when it comes out, and look forward to seeing you live at the House of Blues in July here in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
right?
Okay. All right then, Bob. Thanks a lot.